In environmental programs. I'm Casey Yagumyum. I'm going to be your moderator for tonight. A little bit about me. I am a senior at Auburn Riverside High School, and last summer I had the opportunity to participate in King County Park's Youth Conservation Corps, where I was able to gain hands-on knowledge on environmental restoration work, learn more about the different roles within the environmental sector, as well as gain a new perspective on environmental justice and sustainability. Now let's hear from our panelists. Could each of you please introduce yourselves by sharing your name and pronouns, your current grade and school if applicable, the name of the organization or program you represent, and a quick summary of your program.
Hi everyone, my name is Ramneek Kaur. I am a student at UW Bothell, and my pronouns are she, her. I have presenting PI, which is Partner in Employment. They are organizations that work with immigrants and refugees and do like environmental work and career exploration opportunities.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gabby. I am representing Young Women Empowered, YWE's program, Why We Grow, which supports youth getting into farming, learning about social injustice, food injustices. I go to Bonnie Lake High School. I'm currently a junior, and I'm really happy to be here tonight. I got the opportunity to be in YWE about when I was a freshman. So I've been in YWE for a little while, and I'm really happy that I get to be here talking about it today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jasmin Anand. I'm a junior at Kentwood High School. I'm here representing the Youth Conservation Corps, which is a program that focuses on teaching youths and informing them on sustainability, stewardship, and overall how to give back to our local parks and environmental communities.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Reb. I use they, them pronouns. I just finished the 19th grade recently. I finished my master's in landscape architecture, and I am representing the Washington Trails Association Emerging Leaders Program. I was a trail crew lead a while back. Yeah.
Now that we've gotten to know our panelists, let's move on to our discussion. Let's start with this question. What inspired you to join our program?
Something that inspired me to join this program was that I read that this organization works with immigrants and refugees, and coming from that background, I felt an instant connection with them, and that is why I decided to apply and I got in.
What inspired me to join Why We Grow was the fact that gardening is a big thing in my family, and I never really understood why it was so significant and how it could be really important. So I joined Why We Grow, which specializes in community gardening at our gardening plot, and also the fact that I wanted to reconnect with Seattle because I was born here, but I have moved away. But honestly, Why We has helped me get more reconnected within the community. And also, I just started to learn more about environmental practices.
Ultimately, the opportunity to learn through direct involvement was what truly inspired me to apply, especially during a time of such increasing ecological instability. I wanted to be more than just a concerned observer. I wanted to take a tangible action and contribute to meaningful environmental work in my local community.
Yeah, aside from that, the opportunity arose and there was a need for someone to step in as a trail crew lead. I think my love for the environment and especially like the landscapes that raised me, having grown up in Seattle, is what inspired me to agree to take part in the program. And I also think like cultivating a love for the environment, especially through hands-on projects like trail work, is really important. Just like Jasmine just said, in a time of ever increasing climate crisis, like what we need to do is be stewarding the land.
Well, now, what's one challenge you faced during your program and how did you work through it?
A big problem that I faced was like transportation during the second half of the program when we had to do like restoration in Roberta Garden, which was like super far from my house, and the bus was also like taking a very long time. So I actually talked with my program manager and I told her about my problem, and then she was like very sweet and she decided that, oh, you can come to our office and then I can give you a ride over there. So that's how I completed the second half of the program.
I've definitely faced a couple of challenges in Why We Grow, but I think that some big ones are reconnecting with people socially, especially coming out of COVID and just being home. I think that it made me a little more introverted. And also the fact that I didn't know much about gardening. So I think that I felt a little out of place because I feel like people knew more than I did, but honestly, it's not like that. And you get to learn as you go. And I think that was really welcoming. So I really overcame that challenge pretty quickly, being invested in that community.
One of the most significant challenges I encountered was learning to collaborate closely within a team. As someone who tends to gravitate towards more of an individualist mindset, adjusting to a space where decision making was very shared and ideas were constantly exchanged. It was a bit of a learning curve, but over time, I developed stronger communication and ultimately more compromise skills. I began to appreciate the value of diverse perspectives and realized that most collaboration often produces more thoughtful and impacting results rather than working alone.
Yeah, a couple of challenges in the Emerging Leaders program. I forgot to mention that what it is, which is a professional BIPOC trail crew for youth ages 18 to 25. And so with that, it was a very diverse crew, and that means we have different personalities, different communication styles. And so you'll find, especially with adults coming into their 20s, and we all have different communication styles, and that can often lead to challenges in navigating, like, how do we come across to each other. And at the end of the day, I think addressing those problems requires patience, and also requires, like, we all have more in common than we think, and especially coming together to complete a trail project, it's like we have the same goal in mind. And so we can sit down, talk through differences in communication and our differing like perspectives, and come together and finish the trail project.
Amazing. Now, what's a memory or experience that you'll never forget?
One thing that I will never forget was going to the Pacific Science Center with everyone in our team. I think that day was like the best day of the program and everyone enjoyed a lot. And because it was my first time there, it was like a really new experience for me. And also one thing or like experience that I had, and I think it's like really important for me, was that I had a chance to speak in front of the United Nations, which I felt was like such a big opportunity. And yeah, I think that's what it is when you power youth.
I think honestly, I have so many that I could never forget. But I think for me, one of the most significant ones were my first day at Why We Grow. Again, I was coming out of kind of being socially quarantined, so I was more introverted there on my first day, and I was more like observing the environment there. But uh, Why We hands out Why We tote bags, and they all have like our logo on it. And I had gotten one of those bags. Actually, a bunch of people got those bags, and I mixed up one of them for mine. And I put my phone in there, and I just remember like going into such an emotional spiral in front of like people I didn't know, and that's not even common for me because I don't usually like do that, and I guess I didn't expect it at the time. But I just remember that everyone there, they like stopped immediately. They were there for me, and like all of us like collectively helped to look for my phone, even though I was like, oh, it's on silent mode, like I don't know how to track it. And I just remember being like so like I felt really welcomed into the community because I just feel like that's a kind of experience I never forget. Like people being there for you is such a big thing.
I don't think I'll ever forget the park restoration projects we did over the course of several weeks. At times, the labor could be physically demanding, and there were moments when it felt like it was never going to end. But watching the transformation unfold was incredibly renewing. Seeing the physical impact of our collective effort reminded me that restoration is not just symbolic, it's real, and we all have a chance to contribute. That experience continues to motivate me whenever I feel overwhelmed by the scale of environmental issues that are surrounding us.
Yeah, a memory that from the program that I'll never forget is probably there was this one project down in Olympia, and it required us to use these huge like gas-powered toters to like transport gravel to lay down on the trail, and it was like really muddy, and we had to like tote them up this really steep and muddy hill, and all of us were just like, oh my gosh, this is really scary, and like feeling a little like not confident. But then like, you know, once we were getting like maybe like 2 hours into the work, and we realized like, oh no, we got this. Like we just like got to get out of our comfort zones. And then I remember afterwards, like we were camping nearby instead of like commuting from Seattle to Olympia, and just sharing like this camp hot pot. And it was a really sweet moment where all of us could come together and share a meal after a long day.
So cute. Definitely impactful. Now, why do you think programs like yours are important for young people? And how did participating in this program change the way you see yourself, the environment, and your community?
I think these programs are very important because they change your view of like seeing the environment, and they help you learn more about the land you're living on. It makes you feel more connected to the environment and your community as well. And I think it also unlocks your potential of like working with a team, exploring new places, and learning about like different species of plants and like trees. So I think, yeah, this is like very informational programs as well. So I think, yeah, you should join.
I think for me, a big thing that like really impacted me, or I guess changed my thoughts, were I've talked to YB about it before, but I think that usually nowadays young people tend to kind of get in like a shell when adults are around, and I think a big part of that is the school environment that they're in, maybe. And I think at YB, I feel like the adults there, they really prioritize what you have to say. They really want to listen to you. You almost get an open mind from them because you feel like they have such an open mind for you that you feel like your voice there really matters. I just think that's a really empowering thing, especially at this time, because young people's voices tend to get diminished or feel like belittled because of their age, their experiences. But YB really changed that for me. And I also think that YB also got me out of my own shell to even be to the point where I could speak here today.
Programs like the YCC are vital in my opinion because they empower young people to connect with the natural world and their communities in ways that are hands-on, immersive, and deeply personal. My experience shifted the environment from an abstract issue to a lived reality. I can now recognize how much local ecosystems shape our daily lives and how much our actions in turn affect them. Participating in this program also broadened my sense of personal potential. I saw that I could contribute meaningfully to a cause larger than myself, and that realization changed how I envisioned my role in the future.
I think, especially now that I'm quickly pushing out of what is considered youth, I guess, like young people are amazing and like have so many you know, like amazing qualities that just need opportunities to be like cultivated and like to be like built up. And I think I think a lot about how like it's the young people who are going to inherit the earth, and like we need to be we need to be not only like giving these opportunities to youth, but then like seeing their like everyone's strengths and then empowering them and then giving them the opportunities to become leaders, because the youth are going to become the leaders that are guiding our world and changing our world for the better. I also think like having grown up in the public education system here, like youth are rarely given opportunities to feel empowered. It's a lot of like standardized testing and being told what's right and what's wrong, rarely given the opportunity to like really develop like like a fire inside them to like really think about things and what's important to them. And so that I think these programs are especially necessary because of that.
Yes, oh my gosh. Now this is kind of in the same vein. In what ways can adults or other professionals in this field be supportive of young people trying to make a change in their communities and beyond?
I think adults can spread more about these opportunities and like encourage more young people to be a part of these types of programs, maybe by like providing them with incentives or like certificates or like career readiness opportunities that they would require for the future. Even if they don't go in the environmental field, they would still gain skills that are important in like every field. I think like working with a team, I think that's like in every field.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that giving opportunities to young people is such an opening thing, especially because we're so new that we still have so much more to learn. And I think that honestly, the chance to get to learn that and like the openness of like people giving these opportunities to young people, I think often it feels like you must have experience, but we're not going to get it unless somebody gives us a chance. And another thing is what I was saying about listening. I've learned that listening is more than just like looking at someone, like hearing like with your ears, but you really have a thought process when you listen to somebody talk. You see their body language, and I think that we need more of that, especially to make young people feel more empowered to do things and step out of their comfort zone and just be more open. I think having an open mind generally is what could really help.
One of the best things adults can do is treat young people as collaborators rather than just learners. Offer mentorships, share your knowledge, but also listen to ideas. Provide real opportunities for us to get involved, whether that's just access to tools, funding, or just encouragement. Support doesn't always have to be formal. Sometimes just showing up, asking how you can help, and making space for young youth voices to be heard can mean everything.
I think adults can like demonstrate always more humility and to be humble and recognize that like we're so often accustomed to like adults are the like depositors of knowledge and like like the youth are like somehow subordinate to us, but like we have so much to learn from youth, and I think we should just constantly be looking for ways to like identifying the strengths of the youth around us, and but also like looking for opportunities to like bring to youth so that they can further develop their strengths.
Amazing. Now, what are you up to now? What's next for you?
Right now, I am a full-time college student at UW Bethel. I'm pursuing a double major, one in psych and then neuroscience. For the future, I will probably do an internship or like a research study during the summer. I'm still in the hunt of it, I guess. I'm still finding it. But yeah, I'll probably do something in the summer.
Honestly, I don't even have a clear answer, but being in Wiley and learning more about what's going on in the world right now, it's really inspired me and made me realize that the thing I really want to do in life is help other people. I think that it's a big thing, and community has become such an important value to me that I want to learn more by like immersing myself in knowledge in ways that can help other people, especially our communities of color. I know that in South Park, that's what really inspired me and made me know that I want to work with people because when I was an intern, every Tuesday we would harvest our produce and we'd actually give it out to the people of South Park because there is no grocery store there. And I think that knowing that we're contributing to a good cause that's going back to the people is such a big thing for me. So currently right now I'm trying to figure out how I want to help people, but seeing other people help people is just really inspiring to me.
So currently, I'm a high school junior, and I'm preparing for my transition into adulthood. I'm beginning to explore colleges and think more seriously about the type of life and career I want to build. While I'm still clarifying my exact path, I know that I want to be involved in meaningful work that reflects my values of this that I learned in this program and what it helped instill in me, especially service, sustainability, and community engagement.
What I'm up to right now, I can say with 110% of my heart that I'm pursuing my passions and the things that I really like. And so one of those things is I'm doing a Rainwise training program at the moment. And that's learning how to install like rain gardens, cisterns, and other sort of green stormwater infrastructure structures. And then while I'm not doing that, I am pretty active in community organizing.
Wow, amazing. Okay, this is our last question, but definitely not the least. If another young person was thinking about joining a program like yours, what advice would you give them?
I would say just go for it and like definitely join. One advice I would give is like I would share my experience with them and like encourage them and maybe tell them about like the things that you like expect to do in that job where you're like an intern. So like tell them about restoration and like different plants. I guess that's a big thing.
I think for me as a youth, and honestly still right now, overthinking has been a big thing for me. I think that what would help, at least for me, and I hope that other youth or like even other people can relate to this, is just going for it. I think that usually I tend to think about the outcomes of things or how it could go or how it could go wrong or how it could go right. And like either way, I feel like it just stops me from like running to an opportunity. And I think that just going for something with an open mind and having a neutral mindset, like being open to learning more and then also just like divesting yourself in whatever program or school or any other opportunity you want to sign up for, it's just such a great thing you can do for yourself instead of thinking about how it could go wrong or like how it could go badly, how just thinking about the outcome of it. And I think that when you stay present in the moment, that's something really magical for people because I think that, especially right now, we tend to want to take pictures of everything. At least I do. But I've been trying to work more on staying like focused on like what's going on in front of me, and that's a big thing I tell you today. And also the fact that I understand that a lot of spaces for youth don't feel like they're really for youth. But if they go into this with an open mind, I can promise that people will be there to support you. I'll be there to support you, and I know that it's a big thing.
To anyone considering a program like the Youth Conservation Corps, similarly to my other panelists, I just say to take the leap. I'm someone who also likes to stay within my boundaries and not really go outside them because I know it feels intimidating or unfamiliar, but that's exactly why I think it's worth doing. These kinds of programs push you out of your comfort zone and help you grow, not just academically or professionally, but also personally. Go in with curiosity and open mind and a willingness to put in the work. What you'll gain in confidence, skills, and perspective is something that you'll carry with you far beyond the program. The experience is what you make of it, and it has the potential to change the way you see everything.
I think my advice would be to do it scared, and yeah, be brave and embrace rejection, and also like I think like be strong in like the things you're convicted in, and like will stand up for and hold on to that, and like it's okay if you don't know what you want to do right now, because I like to think of life as like a river, or I guess there's like that song like life is a highway, but maybe river sounds better. Is like you're like a leaf on a river, and like all rivers empty out to the sea eventually, but like just like there's many forks, but eventually like it'll all take you to the right place.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your experiences. Yes, it's been amazing to hear from each of you. Now we'd love to hear from our audience. If you have any questions, please stand up and you will have the mic now.
All right, thank you all for sharing your experiences with us. I was curious, since all of your programs allow you to work with the land, if there was a particular park or green space that holds meaning for you, whether that's from your program or other parts of your life, and why it holds meaning for you.
Well, a park that holds significant meaning for me personally would be Clark Lake Park. It's very close to my house, so I often go there. And it's also the home court for my cross-country team, so I spend a lot of time there. And I can see firsthand like the effect of how we treat it. I notice when it becomes more polluted or when it's better, particularly after I see King County workers stop by. And so it really helps me reflect on how we can each have an impact on the land that we often use, because it's so easy to take for granted when it's constantly surrounding us.
It's actually not a park that I really like, and it has been in my heart since I went there and worked over there. It was Salmon Creek Ravine. I'm not sure if many people know about it, but it's like a hidden place in Burin, and if you have to go there, you have to hike down there. It's it's a really steep hill that you have to climb when you're coming back up. So it's kind of hidden, and many people don't go there. So that's why I really liked it. And I think something that I really liked about it was that there's a small river going from there, and you can watch salmon coming there, and it's so pretty, and the environment is so calming in the shade of trees, and then you can have a picnic over there. I think it's so much fun.
Not a park, but Mara Farm is definitely one of the most important places to me. I feel like I've had the most smiles there, like actually real, you know? Because I feel like posing for a picture now, yeah, you smile, but like the candid smile is just something you can't fake. And I've met so many important people to me there, and I just love that Mara Farm is a community. So like even if you're not there to volunteer, do some farm work, I even see people walking their dogs there. Like I see families going there taking pictures. I think it's just such a beautiful thing to know that there's a space outdoors, especially right now, and it's something that I greatly appreciate. I just can't forget it, but I highly recommend going to Mara Farm because you'll have your own great experience. And I'm sure that you can form your own opinion of it.
Hello. Thank you so much for doing this panel and for all the work you've done. And one of my favorite things about environmental work is that it's very dynamic, and we see changes, and we receive new information, and we adapt. And so, in the spirit of coming to the youth as collaborators, I'm wondering if there are any ways that you think the environmental field should adapt and change for the better.
I'm going to answer this question. Well, definitely something that I realized is that, you know, the environmental sector it's so gate kept. It's like, I remember when I first moved here, you know, people like my peers would talk about camping and going fishing or like doing this and that outdoors. And my family, you know, that's like a white people thing to do. But it's not, oh my gosh. So that's definitely something that I would love the environmental sector to welcome and accept more BIPOC youth as well as professionals. There's so many great, amazing people that don't have the opportunity to do a great, amazing work just because of the circumstances that they were born into. So that's definitely something that I would love to see.
One thing that I would like to see is like maybe before the program, you're like, oh, you have selected the youth, you're done with the team, but now you have to decide like some kind of activity that you have to do every week for the youth. I mean, so maybe you can like create a Google form with like different kinds of things and like present them to the youth and like ask them like, what do you want to do? Like you really want to focus on. I think that's a skill that, or like a thing that would make youth more confident. I would say that, oh, we are able to choose like what we are doing. So I think that makes them a collaborator.
What's a moment in your program that made you want to come back or continue the work that you're doing?
A moment that made me realize that I really felt invested in my program was when we had the opportunity to go to a local greenhouse in Maple Valley and participate in planting some of their, or rather preparing some of their saplings that they would go on to plant in following seasons. Obviously we had done a lot of environmental work beforehand, but just seeing firsthand ways that our work was going to pay off in the future and how we were really helping and contributing was a really almost surreal experience for me. And after that, I felt a lot more invested because I really realized how meaningful the work we were doing was. It wasn't just an opportunity to educate ourselves, but it was an opportunity for us to better our community.
I wouldn't say there was like one moment, but I think just thinking about like the entire program overall, like being able to be outside with this like community, kind of close community that we built with the trail crew, and being able to see that like the work we're doing is like having a really beneficial effect to the community, and like being able to see like the material effect of that just makes you want to keep doing it. And I think also just seeing that we are in these parks, and these parks, like we don't have to go super far. And this idea of like bringing nature into cities is like something that makes me want to continue doing it, because like we all need more green space in the places that we live in.
Something that made me more like invested in my program was when we made like survival rings around the trees during our restoration in Tokola Park. I think that was when I was like, oh, it's such an impactful work that we are doing, because when we made like one person did like 50 rings or like 100 rings, and it was like, oh, it's so impactful that you're saving a life. You're saving a life of a plant or a tree. And I think that's what made me think, oh, wow, I'm like doing such a good work.
I think just throughout like each program, because it's so different that it makes me want to come back. I think that change is definitely a big factor that's made me want to come back. Not only change in myself, but I think that like to see how our plot progresses each season, how it takes in like the new seeds we plant, how we can maintain our environment. I think that that's a big thing that makes me want to come back. And also, I think a big thing that's also made me want to come back is meeting new people and hearing what they have to say, what their insights are. And actually, I wanted to like say this earlier, but I forgot. But I've kind of like learned something. I know it's kind of like cheesy to like read inspirational quotes, but you know, whatever. I have learned that like not all of it is perfect, but all of it is beautiful. And I think that's just such a great thing that's really stuck with me, because I think that it's so normalized throughout our society that everything has to be perfect, everything has to be like at like an A level. But I think that normalizing that it's okay to fail, it's okay to stumble, and just knowing that there's going to be people there for you, that's been such a great thing to me. So that's definitely what's made me want to come back to Why We Grow.
For me, it wasn't like one particular moment, but whenever we would do like our environmental restoration work days, it made me realize how much I love being outside, which is like, you applied for this job, like you know, but it felt like coming home to me, reminding myself that nature isn't a destination. Nature is all around us, and being in a space where I was with, you know, like-minded peers, and I was able to take up space, was such a great reminder to me, and really made me realize that this is my passion and I would like to continue.
We have time for maybe one more question, y'all. Okay, one more question. 1 second.
Okay, thank you so much again for sharing your thoughts and insight. Just curious, as youth leaders, do you have a concern, environmental concern, that you want to share with us? And, why is that important to you?
Well, last year I actually had the opportunity to take an oceanography class at my school, and a big focus was access to clean water, which has been on my mind since then because, obviously the environment is necessary for all of us, but water especially so is a necessity to life that unfortunately a lot of people don't have. And so just exploring ways that we can make that a more possible and achievable goal, and methods to help with that has been at the forefront of my mind. And I think it should be for a lot of other people as well, because unfortunately a lot of these communities go unseen. So
something that stuck with me was like the rise of like temperature and like heat. It's been increasing every year. And I think when we were in Salmon Creek Ravine, we were like, it was summertime. We were like sitting under the trees. It was like so cool. We didn't even felt the heat. And when we like went up from the uphill, we were like, oh my God, it's so hot. And it was like the sun was like all over us. And we were like, now we have to put sunscreen on. And when we were like under there, it was like so like cool, and there was like shade. So I think, yeah, that's like a big issue. Like global warming has been rising every year. And I think this year is going to be like really hot as well.
I think a big issue that I want to bring attention to is pollution. South Park in general is very polluted. Boeing is very close to the community of South Park, and Boeing actually, like, their planes actually fly over. And our in a research we did, I forgot with who, but when I was an intern, we got to see if they're like how toxic the dirt and the soil like is at our farm. And it's very unfortunate to know that there's so many toxic metals and other like toxins that youth could, like, not even just youth, but people could be touching with their bare hands. And I think that's such a devastating thing. I think that cleaning, like more clean dirt and like more clean environments should be definitely a big thing to bring attention to. And also, I'm not sure if this would apply to the question, but I did mention that South Park does not have a grocery store, which is why so many of the plots at Mara Farm actually distribute that food back into the community of South Park. It's very unfortunate to know that these communities of BIPOC people, people with any sort of issue, like any sort of issue or personal thing that they're going through, have no access to food. And that is such a dehumanizing thing to know, that our community does not have food within reach, because the nearest grocery store is actually in Beacon Hill, which is a bit of a drive away, and like the journey there is not guaranteed. So I think that a big thing too is making sure that communities are fed.
I wouldn't say a single environmental issue, but more like how the environment and issues around the environment are interwoven into every single issue that we face as just in humanity. Like, you can't solve the problem of climate change, of climate crisis, without solving the problem of women's oppression or racism or the oppression of LGBTQ people. And I think it's really important to keep that in mind, that these things are interwoven, and that exists, I guess, the intersection of all these problems, and it in itself is like an ecosystem. It has to be systematic change.
Okay, well, we're nearing the end of our time. Thank you all so much for being here. To everybody tuning in on air, online, thank you. It really means a lot to us. I hope you leave this space feeling inspired, hopeful, and more informed about what programs are out there, and support. If you're a young person thinking of doing something like this, especially if you're BIPOC, know that your voice matters and that there's space for you in this work, and you deserve to take up space. If you're a professional wondering how to support people, just know that showing up and listening, like you did tonight, is already a step in the right direction. Big thanks to our panelists. Rainier Avenue Radio and King County Parks for presenting this showcase, and for Columbia City Theater for hosting us. Thanks again for spending your evening with us, and have a great rest of your night.